Hello there, 6 o'clock. Here are headlines. And the United States has suspended all military aid to Ukraine, just days after that explosive exchange between President Trump and President Zelensky at the White House.
Long-threatened American tariffs against Canada, Mexico and China will take effect today, with the countries vowing to retaliate.
Good morning. Food prices are up again, this time by more than 2%. I'm back at Warrington Market looking at why your breakfast eggs and coffee are costing more than a third more than they were a couple of years ago, and why prices don't look set to slow down soon.
The actor Anne-Marie Duff tells Breakfast about her brother's devastating early onset dementia and the battle she's had to get support for him.
The communication of love transcends words. So although he might not know who I am some days, most days, he knows I love him.
Cost of food rose again last month, with staples like butter, eggs and bread all going up in price. The British Retail Consortium says groceries were 2.1% more expensive in February compared with the same month last year. Here's our business correspondent, Theo Leggett.
Breakfast is becoming more expensive. Butter, eggs and cereals have all seen price hikes over the past month, according to the British Retail Consortium. The cost of a morning brew is also expected to rise, thanks to an increase in global coffee prices. Food price inflation was 2.1% in the year to February, according to the BRC's figures. That was a sharp rise from the previous month. In January, it stood at just 1.6%. And the BRC thinks it could hit 5% by the end of the year. That's partly due to changes announced in the budget that are about to come into force.
In Germany, police say they don't believe there was a political or religious motive behind a car ramming attack that killed 2 people in the city of Mannheim yesterday. Police arrested a 40-year-old German man who they said shows indications of mental illness. He's now in hospital after shooting himself with a gun loaded with blanks. The victims were an 83-year-old woman and a 54-year-old man. More than 1 million agency workers will be included in a ban on what the government calls exploitative zero-hour contracts. It's part of a series of amendments to the Employment Rights Bill, which are being published today. The change will guarantee workers a minimum number of hours every week. More than half the adults and a third of children in the world are predicted to be overweight or obese by the year 2050. Research published in The Lancet magazine today says that the figure will include 43 million adults in the UK and 1 in 5 children.
Now, a big sporting challenge in memory of the former Scottish rugby international Doddy Weir has raised more than £1 million for research into motor neurone disease. Well done, everyone. Thousands of you walked and ran and swam and cycled during the first 5 weeks of the year. Dressed up as dinosaurs. Absolutely, anything to raise funds for the My Name's Doddy Foundation. The charity was founded by Doddy, who you can see here, who died in 2022. Following his own diagnosis with MND, and he continued to campaign right to the very end for funds for research, and that work is still going on very successfully. Those funds growing again this month. Well done.
Leaders meeting in Cairo adopt a plan to rebuild Gaza to counter President Trump's widely criticised proposals.
At 6, President Zelensky praises Donald Trump's strong leadership. He says he wants to make things right with the US president after Mr. Trump suddenly paused all military aid to Ukraine. Meanwhile, a trade war has been declared after the US slaps huge trade tariffs on China, Canada and Mexico. Canada's Justin Trudeau has this message for Donald Trump.
Even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
Also tonight, the scientists hoping these mice could lead to the return of woolly mammoths that could help the planet.
I just want to raise a glass to you guys.
And the Duchess of Sussex on her new TV venture that has yet to impress the critics.
And also on the programme this lunchtime, a court hears how triple killer Kyle Clifford raped his ex-girlfriend in a violent act of spite during an attack that saw him murder her and her sister with a crossbow and their mother with a knife. The obesity time bomb. A global study warns that by 2050, more than half of adults and a third of children and teenagers will be overweight or obese.
The scientists on a mission to speed up the slow rate of potty training.
The reason I'm leaving some room at the top, I like to make like a tea bag for the bath.
Keeping up with the Sussexes, why Meghan Markle's new show has been met with some criticism. We speak to the brass band topping the charts with Sam Fender.
And how tortoises have become the latest victim of climate change.